Larry Sanger, the ex-co-founder of Wikipedia, has tweeted about pedophilia in elite circles. Has he lost his mind in quarantine? Why would he promote that crazy alt-right conspiracy theory on his Twitter account? These dangerous theories have all been debunked many times by numerous news organizations, such as the New York Observer, the Washington Post, the Independent in London, the Huffington Post, the Washington Times, the Los Angeles Times, Fox News, CNN, and the Miami Herald. He is obviously risking his reputation by tweeting such nonsense. What's next? Will he try to warn us of interdimensional reptilian shape-shifting mantids? But don't trust our words. Look for yourself.
1. Child sex trafficking by elites is a horrible reality. Below I outline the cases for this claim. Please share with friends so they can wake up. Favor? After each tweet, please post the most persuasive online evidence you know of. There's proof of all this. 2. Begin with Jeffrey Epstein. His circle of friends features some of the most famous people in the world. People like Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, Prince Andrew, even Donald Trump. Look up the Lolita Express flight log and his black book. Quite a stunning social circle, really. 3. He was arrested twice because he was a pedophile who abused many teen girls. He had an island in the Caribbean in which this took place, which, by all credible accounts, was visited by many of his famous friends. 4. There is courtroom evidence that Epstein's friends sexually abused the teen girls he collected, who, as young as 12, were basically sex slaves. 5. But I'm just scratching the surface here. There are hair-curling claims about a temple on his island and rites performed in the hill underneath it. You don't have to believe that to be shocked by Epstein's circle, but the occult connections keep recurring disturbingly. 6. This is what you've heard of, if you're like most people, probably already forgotten about, but we are not even close to being done. Did you know that ABC News had this story in 2016 and covered it up? They did. Everybody knows that, too, but few are talking about it. 7. Did you know it was covered up in a different way last 2008, when Epstein was sentenced to a mere slap on the wrist? Why on earth in the name of all that is holy? Because he is so powerful and has powerful friends to protect, you say. 8. Right, think about that. Hard. More of the story came out last summer. But no one else has been jailed, not even Epstein's chief accomplice, Giselle Maxwell, whose location is unknown. Few in the scandal-crazed media seem to care much. That's weird, isn't it? 9. We the people would learn much more about the suspects and allegations if more court documents were unsealed. But massive numbers of Epstein's case documents have been sealed. The court system is protecting the guilty, again, as they did in 2008. They do that a lot, turns out. 10. Now think, this doesn't take evidence, it takes a little bit of brave thinking. What must our beloved and distinguished world of famous, rich and powerful people be like if Epstein's friends, those people, are violating teen sex slaves and the courts protect them? 11. It sounds like A. Many of the beautiful people know about child sex trafficking by elites, B. Some participate in it, and C. The media and courts cover it up. But systematically? Do they really? Surely not, you say. Sadly, this happens over and over and over. 12. Look these up. The Catholic Church, Peterwood, underage groupies, Jimmy Savile, Rotterdam, Child Protective Service disappearances, the Kinsey Institute, John of God, the NEXIVM cult, the Noxium cult, the Finders, Marc Dutroux from Belgium, Laura Silsby, and yes, Pizzagate. 13. The Catholic Church has had massive numbers of pedophiles. They never go away. Why not? Why don't the police move in on them? Why has it gone on for generations? And there's evidence it's condoned. Yes, condoned and organized within the church. 14 is missing. 15. Let's take a break from the list to think about an important question. How can these people get away with their crimes? How can they still hide? Because indeed most of the perpetrators are walking free. Both the police and the courts must be paid off or be part of the networks. 16 is missing. 17. The case of Jimmy Savile, famous British comedian, is stunning because he was knighted by the Queen long after rumors began that he had systematically raped kids in hospitals and supplied children to others. Close friend to the royals? Think they didn't know? Prince Andrew? 18. Yes, this is heavy, but look, it happens all over the world, repeatedly. In high society, we just never pull it all together. The media is largely silent. This is surely why NAMBLA, North American Man-Boy Love Association, and pedophilia have had famous defenders, like poet Allen Ginsberg and some psychologists. 19. Why on earth did the authorities allow systematic, horrific abuse of children to go on in Rotterdam and other places? So many places, schools, churches, hospitals, etc. You can look it up. They let it happen. Systematically. Deliberately. This is not a joke, and it's real. 20. And did you know that children have gone missing? Thousands of them. From the Child Protective Service foster care system? And no, they are not all runaways. Some are purchased. The point here is that what should be an earth-shattering scandal is ignored. Why? 21. The Kinsey Institute's famous early studies were done by scientists working with, amongst others, known pedophiles, who weren't reported. Kinsey's evidence that babies can have orgasms was based on observations that they cried when abused. 22. John of God basically ran a sex slave camp masquerading as spiritual revival of some sort. Oprah visited and was delighted with his ministry. But then she has her own school for girls in South Africa that had its own child rape scandals, so maybe she didn't care. 23. Are we done with establishment connections with pedophilia? No, and this is real stuff you can look up. You just didn't know. Look up the NXIVM sex slave cult, Noxium sex slave cult, which did involve kids and had connection with Harris Claire Brofman, Catherine Oxenberg, and Alison Mack. 24. Now, if famous people, the police, and the courts are involved in this sort of thing, as they'd have to be to cover up so much for so long, wouldn't, say, the FBI also be involved? Yep. Look up The Finders. It's a fascinating and horrifying story. 25. Of course, elite pedophiles operate all over the world, not just in the English-speaking world. Take, say, Belgium, home of one of the most infamous criminals, Marc Dutroux, who ran an international pedophile ring, apparently for the elite. 26. Look at the case of Laura Silsby. And now I'm afraid we're getting into territory that is not just horrifying, it is also controversial. Because Silsby is a Hillary Clinton friend. Her heightened charity, accused of trafficking children. 27. WikiLeaks is famous partly because of the Clinton-Silsby connection, but also because multiple leaked emails are filled with bizarre phraseology that makes sense if they were organized child sex abuse. 28. Comet Ping Pong became famous as the location of the Pizzagate shooting. Thing is, he took one shot and it hit the hard disk drive of Clinton friend, Democratic operative James Alefantis. Instagram posts associated with the restaurant personnel were disturbing. 29. The plethora of elite child sex abuse makes that by political operatives more conceivable, doesn't it? I started taking that stuff more seriously after I learned about Epstein and the rabbit hole. Look up Danny Hastert and another Clinton associate, Anthony Weiner. 30. I'm going to take a break now. I will probably come back to this thread later. Please help by filling in all the blanks, supply evidence about each of the tweets, and make this thread a resource for everyone. This thread could go on in this fashion for dozens of tweets. 31. Continuing this popular thread now. Some think this is all some big crazy conspiracy theory. Well, let's talk about that. Let's discuss how to think about the conspiracy of elite child rapists. 32. Some say conspiracy theory, the phrase, is itself deeply misleading. A psyop invented by the CIA. But look, there are bona fide crazy people with bona fide crazy theories, right? Let me tell you something. There are sources for everything in the thread above. 33. Epstein and pals? Peterwood cases? Jimmy Savile? The Catholic Church? All the other crazy sounding cases? They sound crazy because the basic reality is horrific. But you can look up every one. They are all facts. Putting them together alongside each other? Also not crazy. 34. But when I put them together, what conclusions do I draw? I'll be honest, nothing definitive. Many clues suggest we need keep digging. Both parts are important. I know that's not the confident answer many wanted to hear, but this is important, so let me explain why. 35. As a philosopher, I deeply studied theories of knowledge, evidence, and justification. My methodological principles have not changed. I am not impressed by inconclusive evidence. Neither are many decent people. They are put off by unjustified judgments of others. Right. And we are talking about horrific crimes and justice here. So, stakes are high. It is important as anything that we be quite sure of our conclusions. So, justice is done. I and most people care a lot about that and don't want to play fast and loose with reputations. 37. But this is very difficult, because some powerful people have gone to extraordinary length to hide their crimes systematically. Some possible tactics have come out most strikingly in the cases of Epstein, Savile, and the Catholic Church. 38. Imagine that, for whatever reason, you wanted to hide a system of child trafficking. You would kill a few people to keep everyone quiet, but you would also closely associate hard facts about the system with, forgive me, crazy-sounding, unverifiable crap. 39. What could be a more effective cover than to infiltrate the truth movement with a bunch of people who sound nuts? Who wants to associate with a bunch of nuts? Not many of us. Look, this will never change. Justice requires good evidence and a rational commitment to truth. 40. Everybody knows that justice requires sobriety. So, if the people talking about child sex trafficking sound like lunatics, they clearly don't have justice at heart. So, others will stay far away. That's how it works. I leave you, therefore, with a bit of advice. 41. Do you want to see justice done, finally? Then get together, collaborate on documents, make sure someone really good at writing and reasoning is leading your group. Split up work, set ground rules. Rule number 1. Nothing goes into the document that lacks good evidence. 42. For example, some of my good friends who love to talk about occult symbolism in popular media. Go ahead, share some. Here's the problem. Symbols don't speak for themselves. It's too easy and credible to believe they have innocent meanings. 43. What we need are the rare quotes from people who are really in position to know, saying the symbols really do mean what you say they mean. But even that is not great evidence, as symbols have multiple meanings. Credibility is key. Take another example. 44. Other of my friends love to talk about suspicious connections. Example given, Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein. This is interesting but unpersuasive. Everybody knows that Guilt by association is a fallacy. Associations are best used as grounds for digging for real facts. 45. I don't care if you think that there's evidence for reptilians and their wonky inhuman eyes, parallel fairy worlds, or for flat Earth, or against the moon landing. Keep all such garbage away from your document. That will make it look ridiculous. Or maybe that's the point. 46. Some people think child sex trafficking is associated with Satanism, that evil elites are taking a youth-enhancing drug called adrenochrome, made from terrified children. If you must get into that, for God's sake, go very, very slowly, and do not lower standards of evidence. 47. Something I haven't mentioned yet is QAnon. What's my take? I don't know. I'm not a spy or a decoder. If you can mine that information source for real evidence, more power to you. Telling most people to go straight to the Q drops is pretty obvious a failing strategy. 48. If evidence is there, organize it so people can understand it. Don't do it alone, but with sober, smart people who are good writers and thinkers. Sorry, but that's the only way you're going to be able to pill everyone else about the reality of child sex trafficking. 49. Am I going to start such a group? Nope. I need to work on my nascent consulting business and have a homeschooled family to care for, so I have no time. I will look in on and advise efforts, but you must organize yourselves. Feel free to use this thread to do so. Good luck. A Twitter user asks, "To be clear, are you suicidal at all?" To which Larry Sanger replies, "Not even a little, thank you. This require little courage. Far braver people preceded me."
The deleted tweet number 14 and 16 could be found using the Internet Archive. Tweet number 14 was mentioning Hollywood and all the known cases there. Tweet number 16 was mentioning the music industry.